Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I'm back to share another Stitchery swap square which I'm going to be sending out into the world. And this one will be going to the lovely Heidi H, who recently sent me the most beautiful Stitchery square, as well as lots of gorgeous paper and slow stitch goodies along with it. So I've got a square for her. I've also got a little extra for her as well to pop in her package. But first to the square. So I decided to use some beautiful fabric that I got because I just loved it. It's a fabric I bought new. I mainly buy my fabric secondhand, but once in a while I see a new fabric that I just adore. And this one, just absolutely appealed to me. Beautiful blue flowers and blooms on a lovely neutral linen. It has the feel of a very old fabric, but it's a newer print. And so I took a section of that, including the lovely sort of edge that was already on it, which was beautifully frayed and sort of fluffed up. I then combined it with some of this fabric, which you can see in the background, which is a gorgeous thick, not thick, but it's a textured linen, and it's got a pattern that would actually be flowers, I guess, with all the numbers that you would use if you were stitching it. So it actually on the, it says rug number 277, and down the side it's got all the different, the colours that it would be. So like number 1, the mahogany, number 3, chestnut, number 2, fern green, number 4, olive green, number 5, wood brown, number 6, apple green, number 7, gold, and then number 8, old gold, and then number 9, goldenrod, a lot of golden going on, and and then a square is eggshell. Don't know where the squares are, but there we go. So it would have been a stitch, but when I saw the fabric, and I found this fabric on Purveyor of Reclaimed Textiles, I just thought, oh, wouldn't it be good just to have little sections of the numbers to just cut out and include in designs, because I love including little words, but also, or more than little words, probably more like, script and text, like this sort of piece, which I haven't used in the piece, but this sort of fabric, I like putting little skerricks of that in. I've also used a little piece of my lovely, very old tape measure, cloth tape measure. So it's very rusted, as you can see on the case, but it's just beautiful. It's one of those ones that winds, and I just absolutely adore it. So I'm just gradually working. It's still got a lot of weight in it, so I think it's still got plenty of cloth measuring tape left in it, but yeah, just using that, and it's just beautifully coloured up naturally. Haven't had to do any staining or dyeing of it. In fact, it actually smells of like a workshop is the smell that I would sort of say it's got. So yeah, a lovely little bit of history there. And then I've used a variety of vintage laces. So this one's a very old handmade lace that's down here. And I'll show you all of these up close in a moment. I'll just take you through the piece. Another little skerrick of lace over here. These little leaves that sit off the page, they're from a very old, again, skerrick of lace that I've got where they were coming apart, but the leaves cross over to make a cross design in the pattern. So they are standalone, they won't unwind themselves, and I thought, oh, aren't they a lovely element to just add to the stem, where the design underneath actually had leaves that are then sort of stitched down to the piece. And so this was then another piece of a tablecloth that I've just cut out, so it's still got its little sort of, I guess, cross-stitch style design sort of around it, an open weave cross-stitch, I guess. And then I put this little cutout from a doily on top as the sort of centre of the flower, again giving a dimensional element, and I didn't stitch down the sides of that, so that's just stitched down in the centre, so it can actually sit off the page and be dimensional. Got a little bird, is that a hummingbird, I think, by the beak possibly? And that's, flying between the flowers. Got another little skerrick of lace. It's very fine up there. Got a bit of Travis glitter on it. Put little beads around the flower where it had these little dots in the design. There is little stitches with just a vintage cotton thread, Silco, and I've used that to do very fine stitching on the flowers here. And I've also used this beautiful vintage ecru made in England shade crochet thread to do the French knots around here, sewn on another little fragment of crochet up here. There's you can see a little bit of a stripy neutral coloured fabric there. So yeah, this was really playing up what Heidi told me, that she loves neutrals, and the piece she had sent me also had blue as an accent colour. So I thought, oh, if she's using blue, I'm pretty sure she would like a little bit of blue as well. So I just thought this was the perfect colour combination for her, and just really pleased with how it all came together. I've got one of my antique mother of pearl buttons down here, again just stitched on with this ecru thread. Got some little golden beads across here holding the tape measure in place. Got another scrap of fabric down here, which actually came off, I think it came off part of this one. There's another lovely bit of fabric with a finer flower design on blue on a neutral at the back there. And just really playing up the textures of the edges, so all the sort of torn edges, or the naturally already frayed edges. I just really wanted to bring those in to have that real feel of nature. So let me bring it up to show you. I'll just leave that off for the time being. So as you can see, we've got little beads, a bead in the centre, and then I've just done little stitching over that flower, partially to hold it down, but also then to give the accents to it. The crochet along the top is really lovely. That's that very fine lace over the tape measure. The little bird. And then all the French knots around the flowers, the little beads that almost look like, what are they? Are they the stamens, but almost like they're glistening, sort of when plants get those little beads of water on them as well. It's got that effect. So I like that. Coming down here, another little skerrick of lace. You can always just save these little pieces. They're just lovely, lovely to add in. And this one I put little crosses with that ecru shade crochet thread. This is a beautiful handmade vintage or antique lace down here, which I adore. Some more of the antique mother of pearl buttons, the gorgeous fabric with the numbers. You can just see how textural it is. It's delightful. And then these are the very the antique little handmade leaves that were part of a larger lace design. And so I just stitched them down by their centres, and that's the stem of the flower from the tablecloth that I cut out. It was a tablecloth that had staining and holes, so I wasn't afraid to cut it out. I was happy when I found it in my box and found that it had some damage. I was like, oh, yep, we can get started on that one. And then the beautiful patina that's on the old measuring tape. So I think that's the key elements I've shown. And then on the back, because I know Annie loves seeing the back. So there's, because it's in neutrals, you can't even probably see all of the stitching, but you can see, stitched all around the edge, lots of tiny stitches, some of the bigger stitching. That's where we're doing all of the little French knots. So you might think, oh, there's a circle element, but actually it's just the stitching around to do the French knots. So really, really lovely. And just the tiniest little bit of blue thread, which is actually just where I've stitched the beads down. Otherwise it was all the neutrals, and the only thing bringing the blues was the fabric, and then this bringing the darker colours. Now you might be thinking, oh, where's the secret pocket that Christine customarily includes? Now I was originally thinking, oh, I could put a little secret pocket in here, but I actually decided that I would put a little hexagon on the back, and I took this idea from the lovely Jane, who'd put a little button or bead on the back of her piece that she sent me, and I thought, okay, I'll make a little sort of neutrals, vintage chic was what Heidi called her style as well. So neutrals and sort of vintage chic, I'm pretty sure it was. Let me just have a check what she'd said. Yeah, vintage chic. So I thought, oh yeah, this could be lovely. So these are my next size up from my smallest hexagons, and I've just made a little pocket, and I've included a little note in there for Heidi. It's got interfacing on both sides, and then it's been stitched all around to stitch it together. And on the back, I've used one of my lovely neutral fabrics from French General. And I've put my little French laundry labels down here with Love CO with my initials. And then I've just done 2 little French knots to make a little hangy tie, which will hang here. But alternatively, if Heidi's going to be like stitching this down onto a quilt or a wall hanging, she can just, she can take the button off if she wants to use the button somewhere else. It's just, lightly stitched on. And she can hang this up either sort of with the front of the design, or she can hang it up somewhere else in her house or her craft room. So that's her little secret pocket there. Now, Heidi also sent me some lovely, quite voluminous extras with her package. So I thought I'll just send her a few little goodies along with the little card that I've made for her. So I've actually just lightly stitched the goodies onto the top of the card here, just so they will sit neatly in the envelope and won't slip around. And so the envelope won't end up too thick when I'm sending it, because I do still have to stay within the limit of Australia Post if I'm sending a card only package. So it's got a lovely fussy cutout, feather and neutral and blue tones, and then just some little skerricks of lace that I thought Heidi might like using. Beautiful ornate, I guess, lace work sort of, and satin stitch piece. Another one of the lovely neutral laces. I just love cutting out these or using little sections. It's great to have the curve to add into pieces. And then a nice little nautical theme, a little bit of lace. So that is the package for the lovely Heidi. Even the flowers are almost some parallels between the flowers, different type of flower though. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that. Hope you're taking some inspiration from what I'm creating. That's why I do like sharing my squares, but it's also a bit of a memory book for me as well, to be able to remember what it is that I've actually created with these pieces. So thank you so much for watching, and you'll only be seeing this when Heidi has actually received her square. But I hope you enjoyed it, and take care, and I will speak to you soon. Bye everyone.